New England Patriots 26, Denver Broncos 23. I was hoping just to spend some time with the family, enjoy Christmas Eve, have a nice boring game. And then it gets crazy in the fourth quarter.
It got crazy.
New England was up 23-7. It was 16-7. It was a slow start, felt like the expectation of this game. A couple not so great offenses, some defenses playing better, and then Marvin Mims just muffs the kick return, and that's an easy touchdown for New England to go up 23-7. They scored 2 touchdowns within seconds of each other to go up 23-7, but Denver made a comeback, and then Bailey Zappi leads a game-winning drive for the field goal, 26-23.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where obviously it's reductive to basically say Bailey Zappi played well, therefore it became a game. But it's kind of what happened. And yet it started off, it was the very first play of the game. Bailey Zappi has like an absolute nightmare, fumbles it away, immediate Denver turnover. It's his left guard just gets tossed to the floor. So that's not great, So there's only so much to which you could say, well, look, that's Zappi's fault. But his left guard got tossed to the floor so early and so conclusively in the play that Zappi has like 2 seconds to watch the large defensive tackle slowly running in his direction as he's trying to find somewhere to go with the ball, and ends up holding onto it so long that what was just a bad play turns into a catastrophe. But you're like, that's the Patriots this season. That's Bailey Zappi. Like, standard fare. This is what we expect. Perfect start to the game. Denver can win this comfortably, and then we can all move on with Christmas. And then from that point on, Bailey Zappi no, I'm going to play well now. From now on, only good things, and turn this into a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to talk about the specifics in the game a little bit because, there was it was a fascinating game as far as like the comeback and everything. Denver being down 23-7, and then they kind of kicked into gear offensively and get back to 23-15. They had to hit 2 2-point conversions, right? When you're down 16, it's the 2 touchdowns and the 2 2-point conversions. They got both of them.
No margin for error.
So it's 23-23. And then it looks like we might be going to overtime here.
And without Cortland Sutton, who'd been like the guy that was making all the big plays for them in the pass game. Like one of the things here, Denver's trying to execute this comeback. Russ sort of looking more like old school Russell Wilson. Be like, who was he throwing to? I mean, previously this season, the only guy that's been on his wavelength making these plays has been Cortland Sutton. Sutton got hurt and is not in the game. You're like, where has Jerry Jeudy been? Marvin Mims, we've only seen him putting the ball on the ground in the return game. Like, there's nobody making plays for them.
There's nobody making plays. They still make the comeback. Now, Denver did have an opportunity. So they make a stop. It's tied up. They make a stop. But then Denver goes 3 and out, gives the ball back to New England with 58 seconds left. And New England just, runs the ball for 6 yards, but they run the ball with 58 seconds left. This is classic Belichick, right? It's like, we'll go to overtime. Love playing overtime. Love going to overtime. Bill. So I can take the wind. It's his favorite thing to do.
Take the wind.
Then they run the ball again, setting up 3rd and 3 with 47 seconds left. And I don't know if Zappi checked out of a run. He checked into something, though, and he chucks it up to Devontae Parker for 27 yards to pretty much put them on the fringe of field goal range. And that's the throw of the game. A couple more short passes. They get within somewhat range. You had Chad Ryland over here, the rookie kicker who's missing extra point level plays. Bill Belichick's calling him out on it. Kicks a game-winning 56-yarder to win on Christmas Eve. So I think the fallout from this, I think, is the more fascinating story. Denver goes from like this mid-season upstart, watch out for Denver, they're figuring it out, Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, to maybe the whole thing's over.
Well, there's a bunch of teams this year that like dug themselves such a deep hole to start the year that you don't have any margin for error, and you sort of end up throwing it away with a stupid game somewhere because those just happen in the NFL. Like that's the kind of tragedy about this. You can get your season on track. Like the best teams in the game ever tend to lose a game somewhere, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like the
teams are losing. Good teams are losing every single week right now.
Like so many of those like 15-1 teams. There's a reason nobody had gone undefeated other than the 72 Dolphins and then eventually the 07 Patriots until that, Super Bowl. But it's like you tend to lose one somewhere, right? You just have a bad game, weird things happen, the ball bounces in the other direction, and somewhere along the road, you lose a game that you should win. Well, that is even more true with teams that aren't that great to begin with. So if you dig yourself a giant hole and you need to like win out over 6-7 games, the chances are you're not going to do it. Because even if you do get yourself back on track and you're better than you were earlier in the season, there's going to be one game somewhere along the way. And this was one. Like, it's not that the Patriots were necessarily just way better than Denver. Like, the Patriots score, and then Mims kick return fumble, and now there's another score, and that just went immediately from pretty close game with a touchdown gone the other team to now it's 23-7. You're like, well, that game just got away from us in 10 seconds. Like, that's what happened here. And then Denver just couldn't drag that back.
Yeah, it was too big of a hole for the Broncos, absolutely. Again, I think first off, shout out to Christian Barmore with a huge game
in this game.
Yeah, absolutely dominant for the Patriots at defensive tackle. Now the fallout here. Couple things here. New England goes from picking potentially second and having that quarterback decision to now technically they're fourth behind Washington. So New England could have that Drake May, Caleb Williams option now gone. And have to go, figure out their next situation. I don't think they're going to build around Bailey Zappi. I don't think it's going to be Bailey Zappi to Marvin Harrison Jr.
No.
It is actually interesting because you've got some New England media who is like, oh, they should have gone to Zappi a lot earlier and blah, 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 blah. And it's like they're averaging like 16 points a game with Zappi as quarterback. They got shut out just 3 weeks ago. So it's not like it's just better than it was for most of the season with Mac Jones, but it's not like he's the guy, I don't think, going forward. So the quarterback stuff in New England, potentially miss out on one of those guys. And then for Denver, are the last 2 weeks the nail in the coffin for the Russell Wilson era for the Broncos, where if they had, Detroit was bad. I mean, pulling that upset would have been a struggle, but they should have won this game on paper. They were favored by almost a touchdown, or by 6.5. So this could be the end of Russell Wilson, Sean Payton. See what happens going forward there. Good?
Mm-hmm.
No more use for this game.